What up, everybody? It's Kelvia here to bring you some more sports updates. You're watching this on Yo Charlie, therefore you know what to do. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Yo Charlie Official. Argentina, mercy. Where do I even start from? Egypt were this close to making history for the country, making Africa proud. And then what do? They pull a Senegal. They pull a Senegal. I remember sitting here and speaking about how Senegal fumbled in like the 86th minute against Belgium, where they were this close to making it into the round of 16, yet they failed. And a few days later, Egypt do the same against Argentina. Look, this game looked like it was done. Generally, everybody thought Argentina was going out of the World Cup. Even their fans were leaving the stadium. I thought it was a done deal. Then the comeback was on. You know, the way the game was even going, Messi had missed a penalty. Everything just felt like it wasn't Argentina's day. Then you have Messi standing up to say, this last 10 minutes, I'm going to play the best football I've ever played. Like, at this point, we need to find out what God Messi is worshiping, because it doesn't make sense how they could be fumbling. They don't even play the best kind of football, but they still find a way to make it through. And yes, people were coming out saying the game felt like there was FIFA had, something was, it was corrupt, something was going, the referee wasn't the best. It wasn't the best officiating they've seen. It just felt like everything was going to Argentina. But I still feel like Egypt fumbled it. Like, they can't come and say you had a 2-0 lead, right? Even if you conceded, it was still 2-1. You still had time to, like, lock in, get over the line, just defend at that point. There was no need for you to open up that much. But they still fumbled. They still allowed Argentina to come back into the game and equalize. And trust Messi to miss a penalty in a game and still end up scoring or being influential in them going on a comeback. It just feels like the World Cup. If you say the World Cup, you just have to think about Messi, because it's his tournament at this point. And he orchestrated the comeback. He assisted the first goal to put the comeback on. Then he scored the equalizer to finally be level terms with Egypt. And then Enzo Fernandez finishes it off in the dying minutes of the game. Do you know how painful that must be? Like, Egypt. Yesterday I was so disappointed. It just, I don't know why this keeps happening to African teams. I don't know why we lack concentration in the dying minutes of games, why we can't just defend, or why we can't be focused and get over the line. They were this close to making history for Egypt, and everything just collapsed, and it was sad to see. But definitely Messi fans are excited. I know some Africans that are Messi fans were even more excited. They didn't really care that Egypt didn't make it. They just, after Ronaldo was kicked out the day before, a lot of eyes were on this game, because, they didn't know if Messi would still be in it. But the GOAT Messi is still in the World Cup. It looks like they might be one of the teams that might take it again back to back. So let's wait and see how that goes. And even though Argentina came back, the question after this game was the officiating. People just felt like the game was fixed for Messi to win it, Messi and Argentina to win it. People felt like Egypt had some questionable calls that should have gone to VAR in the dying minutes of the game. People were saying fouls were committed that looked similar to a foul that actually occurred in the game against Lozano Martinez, where they chopped off Egypt's second goal. So Egypt scored the first goal, they scored the second one that was chopped after it went to VAR, but then they ended up scoring another one and it was 2-0. So many questions, and Egypt actually are very upset about this. Their federation has actually um they've sent a report to FIFA that they are unhappy and how things were done in the game. But really, today, can they blame the officiating or can they blame themselves? Because I still feel they technically could have still won the game if they had logged in the last 9 minutes. Sometimes football just happens and stuff happen. So, what are your thoughts on this? Anyways, going on to our next story. Mbappe, right? So after France faced Paraguay in their round of 16 game, where France ended up winning the game, they got a penalty in the latter part of the game, and Mbappe stepped up, took the penalty, scored, and then that ended up being the only goal in the game. And then they ended up making it to the quarterfinals. There was just so much conversation being had about, the Paraguayan players, how everything, just the whole game just felt very tense, with the players on the pitch. There were incidents, there were yellow cards being shared, and the France team were definitely not happy with how the Paraguayan team or how the players behaved. But the drama didn't end on the field. After the game, a Paraguayan senator came out to make a statement about Mbappe. And it wasn't the best thing to see, honestly. Sometimes if you get the defeat, take it like that, take it to your full chest and just move on. But she was bitter and she came out insinuating and saying that calling Mbappe a brute, saying instead of him having his mother's milk, he was sucking on coconuts, and so many unnecessary things, claiming he was and she was claiming what he's only been educated by chimpanzees. Like, some of the things she was saying were very absurd and very offensive and very racist if you really look at it. But trust Mbappe to not sit back and watch someone try to downplay him or talk terribly about him. So Mbappe came back to respond to this, stating the fact that she was unworthy of her position, speaking about how she's not representing Paraguay in a good light, and talking about how reckless she can be to come out to say something like this, and also speaking about how her statements just downplays the efforts of the players and the history they've made, going that far in the World Cup, and how she has made this whole thing about him when it should be her praising, the players, the team, and just for the journey they've been on, right? And I kind of stand with what Mbappe is saying, because you have to be so bitter to come out to say all these cynical things about a player that you probably don't even know. You don't even know him personally. You just speak out of anger, out of frustration. But then you have to minimize the kind of things you say. And you are such a big person in your country, right? You are known. So you have to sometimes watch the things you say. They can be very offensive. But she also comes back to respond to Mbappe's reply. She was going hard, right? She was going hard on him, saying all sorts of things, still being racist. So it's not like she learned from her her first statement. She didn't learn anything at all. She came and even was even more racist than ever, claiming that she doesn't know she doesn't realize how it's racist to call a black person out. It's I'm just thinking, are we playing football here, or are we are losing the plot here? Because how are you even, and claiming he's a Cameroonian, he needs to go back to his country, he's a fake French man. Like, it makes no sense at all to me. Very misplaced priorities, if you ask me. She's just going on, and now she wants to sue Mbappe for what? For the things he said about her. Meanwhile, you are the one that attacked him first. So we need to, like, makes no sense at all to me. Something needs to be done. And I'm very sure Mbappe is not going to sit back and allow her to disrespect him. And the French team are backing him as well. So that is very nice to see. It would have been nice to see if some of the Paraguayan players come out to defend him, because I feel like they've also been so quiet on the matter. But I mean, Mbappe is strong enough to handle the situation, and I think he's handling it very well. So let's see what more aspires from this whole issue with Mbappe and Senator Celeste. Now, coming to the next story, let's come to Ghana. We've gone to Argentina, we've gone to France, we've gone to Egypt. Now let's come to our home, Ghana, GFA. So I sat here yesterday and I said there were rumors about GFA taking 70% of players players fees if they wanted to get called up for the Black Stars. And rightfully so, GFA have come out to state that they didn't do that. They don't know where this information is coming from. It's all false. That's not true. And they are just defending themselves, saying they're going to sue the woman who came out to make this alleged statement. And the statement was mainly on one Black Stars player, Prince Owusu. And he also came out to make a statement that he has no idea about this. He has no idea about the allegations. It's not true. He never said this or he never said that. So it just looks like it was false. It was false rumors. It was lies that was being put out. But the heat has not died down on GFA. Ghanaians are still on their necks about the Black Stars and them feeling like we need new and fresh people to take over the GFA. And there's even a petition, and people are trying to write petitions and put out posters that saying they want Kurtz out. They are done. They want a re-evaluation of the GFA. They need new faces, new ideas. They are done with the corruption. And definitely GFA are seeing this because accounts are being blocked now. People that are putting stuff out is being blocked by the Ghana Federation. So it's again like they can't eat their cake and have it. They are definitely threatened by the things that is going on, and they can see Ghanaians are furious. And we have every right to be, because yes, we made it out of the group stages, but it wasn't the best performance against Colombia. Let's be real. And even the group stages, there were definitely some questionable performances. It wasn't like it was. We were lucky to even get past Panama, right? And then we go into that England game, which we displayed brilliant defensive work, right? And then we come into the Croatia game. I think a lot of people are forgetting we even lost the Croatian game. Like, we didn't play well against Croatia, and then we had already qualified. So that kind of felt like the boys were not really, there was nothing in that game to fight for, right? So we were trying to see what they would put up against Colombia, but they still messed up and we were out. And it didn't even look like they wanted to put a fight against Colombia. That's probably what has Ghanaians upset. So there's just so much going on with the GFA, and their asses are hot, but I'm sure everything would be settled at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts on all the stories. What did you think about the Argentina Egypt game? Do you think the officiating was terrible? Do you think Egypt did it to themselves? What are your thoughts on Mbappe and Celeste? And definitely, what are your thoughts on GFA and the whole drama that's going on around them? My name is Kelvia. You know what to do. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Charley. If you're interested in having any of your ads on Charley, you can find our contact details down below in the video. Catch you in the next one. Peace.